Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 78 based on novel. So let's start. Naturally counts. Jinlong was not surprised when he heard the anger that came from the immortal sword, but said slowly, but his pupils were turning quickly, obviously thinking about something. That's right. The voice of anger on the immortal sword also resounded, and the next moment, the immortal sword slowly rose from the ground, and then slowly gathered in Xiao Yang's hands. The immortal sword had just returned to Xiao Yang's hands, and the ancient ruler of the eternal fire on Xiao Yang's body also fell off. Then Xiao Yang found that the immortal sword was held by himself, and there seemed to be some scorching heat in the palm of his hand, but for Xiao Yang it was nothing, so Xiao Yang didn't care. How is this going? Could this be the sword spirit of the immortal sword? Xiao Yang also asked in confusion. If I am really a sword spirit, then fine. The voice in the fairy sword also said slowly. Sword spirit, not like it. I feel more like a residual force. After all, when the three immortal warriors were refining this immortal sword, if they already possessed the sword spirit, how could they look at me and arrest me at a great price? Long Yi also said slowly. He, you flaming dragon didn't die, it seems that all this is God's will. The words above the fairy sword also slowly spread. Humph, you're just the residual power that the three fighting immortals fused together. Long Yi also said slowly, not to be outdone. But what you said is not wrong. I am just a residual force. The purpose of my existence is to let this fairy sword find the right person, so as to bring out its brilliance. The voice above the fairy sword is also saving the road. Ha, this fairy sword is now in our hands, and the master is naturally Xiao Yang. Long Yi also said. Just him. The voice in the fairy sword was also full of doubts. What? No. Long Yi also said. Although the flame power on this kid is quite in line with this fairy sword, it doesn't mean that he can become the master of this fairy sword. The master of the fairy sword can't be him. The voice in the fairy sword also said without mercy. Xiao Yang also had black lines all over his head at this time. He didn't know what Long Yi and the voice in the fairy sword were doing. Okay, let's talk about the rest later, let's do business first. At first, the Golden Dragon King ignored the real quarrel between Long Yi and Xianjian, but the quarrel between the two became more and more fierce, and they had no choice but to exit. Don't forget what you promised me. That stone. The voice in the fairy sword also said slowly. This is no problem. The Golden Dragon King also said slowly, although the mysterious meteorite is unclear, but it is extremely precious. But the Golden Dragon King found that the most precious thing in the core area of the forbidden area is not this. It seems it is those water droplets on the mysterious meteorite that are more precious. Because even the Golden Dragon King felt some extremely familiar aura from the water droplets. Gather the power in your body. An extremely gentle voice also sounded slowly in Xiao Yang's heart. Although Xiao Yang didn't know what the remaining power in this fairy sword was for, he wanted to come here to crack the special space in front of him. Boom, boom, boom. The next moment, Xiao Yang also slowly gathered the fighting qi in his body onto the fairy sword in his hand. At this time, an extremely huge flame force emerged from the immortal sword, and then slowly surrounded the body of the immortal sword. The huge power above the immortal sword also slowly surrounded, and the next moment, the tip of the sword suddenly pointed to the location of the mysterious meteorite. Within 10 meters of this mysterious meteorite, there is a very special space. If there is no special method, it is impossible to enter. Above the fairy sword also spoke slowly. Xiao Yang heard the words and looked at the core area. At this moment, the mysterious meteorite, was also slowly exuding a dim brilliance, and then the next moment, a slight inconspicuous liquid slowly dripped from the mysterious meteorite. Go. The trace of inconspicuous liquid dripping down from the mysterious meteorite slowly fell into the circular object suspended under the mysterious meteorite in the next moment. Shabu shabu. The next moment, when the mysterious liquid in the mysterious meteorite dripped down, an extremely majestic force and dazzling fluctuations slowly radiated out. This is the power of life. The Golden Dragon King just saw the dazzling light emerging from the round object, and his pupils were also beating violently. At this moment, the Golden Dragon King also understood. Why are there a few strong auras of life among the round objects? Because the breath of life is condensed from the mysterious meteorite. No wonder the immortal sword is so anxious to get this meteorite. It turns out that this meteorite has a lot of background. What is that? Xiao Yan also stared blankly at the dazzling light in front of him, and then the huge perception spread instantly. The next moment, Xiao Yan was also surprised to find out. A force that seemed to contain enormous vitality also slowly emerged from the circular object under the mysterious meteorite. After passing through this power, Xiao Yan also discovered that the 50% Do Qi in his body that had been absorbed by the immortal sword also recovered quickly, and even the tired injuries in his body had recovered very obviously. An indescribable feeling of comfort also arises spontaneously. What exactly is this? Xiao Yan also felt this strong life force for a short time, slowly stared at the mysterious meteorite in front of him. Xiao Yan knew that all this was brought about by this mysterious meteorite, so he frowned. Damn it, you still discovered it. Above the fairy sword, the fairy swords surrounded by as many as 23 colors, also blurted out slowly. Humph. The Golden Dragon King also seemed to realize that he had just read it wrong. Originally, in the core area of the Forbidden Area, this mysterious meteorite was the most precious thing. Long Yi, do it. The next moment, the Golden Dragon King also found something, and snorted at Long Yi. At this time, Long Yi had already escaped from the ancient ruler of eternal fire. After all, with Xiao Yang by his side, it was still possible to leave the ancient ruler of eternal fire for a short time. Facing the voice of the Golden Dragon King, Long Yi also understood. Damn it. What are you doing? Xiao Yang also found that he just wanted to break free from this fairy sword, but found that his palm couldn't break free no matter what. It was as if he was being heavily controlled by this immortal sword. No matter what, it is impossible to break free from the control of such an immortal sword. Humph, little guy, lend me your body first. A strange voice sounded beside Xiao Yang's ears from the fairy sword. The next moment, above the immortal sword, a splendid light also spread along the hilt of the sword and slowly spread to Xiao Yang, heading towards Xiao Yang's brain control center. With such an appearance, he is clearly trying to control Xiao Yang. Damn residual power. Xiao Yang couldn't help but scolded, and the next moment, he also suddenly realized that his body could not move at all under the control of the fairy sword. This frightened Xiao Yang, so Xiao Yang also hurriedly activated the burning dew in his body, trying to resist the invasion of the remaining power of the immortal sword. If he was controlled by the residual power of this fairy sword, the consequences would be unimaginable. Give up resistance. How can I say that I am also the residual power left by the three fighting immortal powerhouses? Don't say it's because of your mediocre 4-star Do Emperor mid-stage strength. Even if you add the two old guys outside, you won't be able to defeat me in a short period of time. A voice in the fairy sword also slowly echoed Xiao Yang. Sounded in my mind. Get out. Xiao Yang also shouted in his heart, and then the next moment, as the force of that who continued to penetrate into Xiao Yang's brain control center, Xiao Yang also felt that he was gradually losing control of this body. It can't go on like this. Xiao Yang also broke off immediately. The next moment, in the soul realm, the huge soul power also poured into his brain control center frantically, trying to resist the invasion of the remaining power of the immortal sword. This fairy sword actually wants to control Xiao Yanzi. The Golden Dragon King also snorted coldly. Do it. The next moment, the Golden Dragon King also said a few words slowly to Xiao Yang next to him, and then said to Long Yi. So that's it. Xiao Yang was also shocked by the strength of the immortal sword at the beginning, but now he is also trying to prevent the immortal sword from controlling himself, thus making a big fight. Following the words of his master, the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yang's eyes sank slightly. Is it really okay to do this? However, Xiao Yang did not hesitate. Out of his trust in his master, the Golden Dragon King, he secretly made up his mind. The next moment, the power in the body also slowly fell like a discouragement. The power of the immortal sword that invaded Xiao Yang's body was also a big joy, and then regardless of the 3721, it went straight to the control center of Xiao Yang's brain. In the past, I was able to control the body of this human kid, and then the people here will be. At this time, Xiao Yang's body was exuding a mysterious green light, and upon closer inspection, this green light was clearly emanating from the immortal sword. The green power slowly formed a protective shield around Xiao Yang's body, surrounding Xiao Yang. The Golden Dragon King waved his palm viciously towards Xiao Yang, and the next moment, the bright golden light also poured into the green power on Xiao Yang's body. However, the strange thing is that the Golden Dragon King's seemingly invincible golden Do Qi was suddenly swallowed up when it passed through the green Do Qi around Xiao Yang's body. Disappeared without a trace. The next moment, Long Yi also opened his mouth, and then spit out a long breath at Xiao Yang. The scorching wave and the destructive power were mixed together to attack Xiao Yang. The next moment, it was exactly the same. The green power that had just touched Xiao Yang's body was completely swallowed up. What kind of power is this? It can actually swallow my fighting spirit. At this time, the Golden Dragon King also ignored the mysterious round objects and mysterious meteorites in front of him, but prepared to deal with the residual power on the immortal sword first. The Golden Dragon King is the leader of the Dragon Clan, and the Golden Dragon King in his peak period is known as the strongest person, who is closest to the level of the Dragon God. Dragon God, that is a real fighting level powerhouse, but it is obviously not nonsense that the Golden Dragon King can get such a title. Now, the green energy above this fairy sword can actually swallow the power of the Golden Dragon King, which makes the Golden Dragon King think. Wait a minute. Just when Long Yi was about to launch an attack, the Golden Dragon King raised his hand to signal Long Yi. Your Excellency. Facing the words of the Golden Dragon King, Long Yi dared to have any doubts. After all, no matter from the future or now, Long Yi has great respect for the Golden Dragon King, who was once the most powerful of the Dragon Clan. But take a step back and say that the power of blood in the Golden Dragon King's body is also extremely terrifying to suppress Long Yi. If the Golden Dragon King hadn't deliberately suppressed the fluctuation, then the terrifying coercion from the superiors could also make Long Yi's worship up. What do you think that is? The Golden Dragon King also slowly pointed at Xiao Yang's neck. That's. After Long Yi finished speaking, he also stared at Xiao Yang's neck. At this time, Xiao Yang was standing on the ground without any master, and the immortal sword was also tightly held in his hand, and a green grudge surrounded him slowly. But the next moment, there was a blue light on Xiao Yang's neck, slowly emitting from the conch-like thing on his neck. Then it slowly gathered in Xiao Yang's forehead. Looks like we're overthinking it. Then Yuxuan should have done some tricks in the sound of the sea in the end. When Xiao Yang encounters insurmountable trouble, he will also take action. The Golden Dragon King naturally felt the blue light slowly emitting from the conch shell. The light of color is like the sea, as deep as the abyss and unfathomable. Wait quietly, I always feel that something is staring at us, be careful. After the Golden Dragon King finished speaking, he also glanced around, but he didn't find it. So he had to do it, and then looked at Xiao Yang. The reason why they didn't dare to enter the 10-meter space of the mysterious meteorite is that the Golden Dragon King, with the experience of the old man, knew that the place where such treasures were kept would definitely not be so simple. So it was just left in the fairy sword. The scene of the power agreement tilde, but until now, the fact that the power of life can be condensed in the mysterious meteorite was also discovered by the Golden Dragon King. So this agreement is naturally self-defeating. However, the Golden Dragon King is also quite curious as to why this fairy sword is so obsessed with the mysterious meteorite, even if it is obtained at all costs. Judging from the reaction just now of the power remaining in the fairy sword, it clearly knew some mysterious functions of the mysterious meteorite, and it could not be said that it knew something that the Golden Dragon King did not know. In the loneliness of the forbidden area at this time, there was a dead silence, as if the sound of breathing had become solemn. Since Xiao Yang heard the words of his master Jin Longwang, he simply gave up his resistance, because what his master Jin Longwang said to himself was that it would be better to let the remaining power in this fairy sword go wild and wipe it out. These words just appeared in Xiao Yang's mind. Xiao Yang was also surprised, but after a short thought, he also agreed with the approach of his master, the Golden Dragon King. After all, no matter what, Xiao Yang still has huge soul power and spiritual power in his body, and at Xiao Yang's level of soul power, even if his body is destroyed, there is still a chance of survival. So he simply fights. Why is it trying to control my body? Xiao Yang also found that after the green power entered his body, he didn't stop there, and went straight to the control center in the deepest part of his body. Trying to gain control of your own body. However, Xiao Yang also discovered that the immortal sword in his hand seemed to emit a slight scream, and the tip of the sword pointed to the mysterious meteorite hanging high 10 meters away in front of him. Boom, boom, boom. When the green energy in the immortal sword poured into Xiao Yang's brain control center, the magical conch shell that Xiao Yang had taken out from the sea suddenly emitted an extremely dazzling blue light, and then gathered directly towards Xiao Yang's forehead. Ha ha ha, I succeeded. The green power also slowly let out a very happy voice, because it has come to the depths of Xiao Yang's brain, and the control center is close at hand. As long as the control of this control center is taken away, then in other words, it is another kind of rebirth. After all, no matter what, it is just an energy body. If you get this body, you will be reborn. The next moment, the green power didn't hesitate, and suddenly walked towards the mysterious light group in front of him. That mysterious light group is the control center deep in Xiao Yang's brain. At this critical moment of survival, a blue light also emerged instantly, and then slowly surrounded the green power. Damn it, what is this? Green power also said viciously. Then it also discovered that since the blue light appeared, a fear that made it spontaneously spread out. Boom, boom, boom. The blue light just appeared in the control center that extended out of Xiao Yang's brain, and the next moment it suddenly exploded, and an invisible shock wave also slowly radiated from the depths of Xiao Yang's brain. Not good. The green power also realized something at the next moment, and then suddenly and quickly escaped from Xiao Yang's body. Because in addition to the repelling of the blue light, a mysterious rune engraved with the word, magic movement, also appeared slowly. In the mysterious rune, an extremely greedy aura also pervaded the green power. Cough cough. In a few breaths, the green power also left the depths of Xiao Yang's brain and appeared in the outer space. At the same time, Xiao Yang was also shaken violently, regained control over his body, and then the immortal sword in his hand suddenly swung and fell directly to the ground. Xiao Yang looked at the mysterious conch on his chest and murmured, "Thanks." The conch seemed to be quite benevolent and wise, and when she heard the words, it slowly dimmed. At the same time, in the depths of Xiao Yang's brain, the core inscription of the divine movement of life also slowly returned to the Ni Gong Wan. Cough, cough. In the green light, a very gentle female voice also appeared slowly. "Ha ha, you actually want to invade my body." Xiao Yang also said viciously to the green light in front of him, and the next moment the milky white flames in his hands gathered together, ready to attack at any time. "Actually, I'm also curious about whether you are a residual power, or a trace of your soul." The Golden Dragon King saw that the green power made some noises, apparently injured by the mysterious conch in Xiao Yang's body, and also said, "Humph." In the green light, a coquettish anger also appeared immediately, and then Xiao Yang and the three suddenly saw that the green light slowly dissipated, and a human-like woman appeared alive. The woman has long hair and a long skirt to set off her figure perfectly, and her delicate face has some wind marks, which is obviously due to the passage of time. What is this? When Xiao Yang saw this woman for the first time, a strange feeling came to her. That feeling was as if the woman in front of him was not a human being, because Xiao Yang, relying on his enormous soul power and spiritual power, could not feel even a trace of human aura from the woman in front of him. It's showing its original shape now. The Golden Dragon King also smiled slowly. "Ha ha, it turned out to be an energy body. However, your energy body has existed for too long, and it's really not simple to be able to transform with strength." Long Yi also saw the identity of this woman at a glance, and then said, "Energized form." When Xiao Yang heard the words, he also thought blankly. "I heard from my master Golden Dragon King before that it is not ruled out that there are some mysterious powers. After experiencing possession, I never imagined that the power remaining in the fairy sword would actually have it. Ha ha, I have to thank you for this." The woman also glared at Long Yi, then said coquettishly, "Me?" Long Yi was surprised when he heard the words. When the three fighting immortal powerhouses cast this immortal sword, it cost a lot of money, but this immortal sword was not opened, and later learned of your existence through some news. The three of them just thought incorporating you into this fairy sword and sword spirit, so that in Kaifeng, the power of the fairy sword will also be more terrifying by leaps and bounds. As for me, the power that was injected into the fairy sword by the three people at the beginning was very small at first, but then slowly absorbed the power in that secret realm, and was also hidden in the fairy sword, so that I have now it's me." The woman didn't seem to be afraid of Xiao Yang and the others, but continued to say lightly, "In that case, you should really thank me. But from now on, you won't exist anymore." Long Yi also said with a smile. The next moment, the breath suddenly burst out, and then attacked the woman. "Kill it. I'm just an energy body." The woman also smiled slightly, and there was an extremely rare banter in her voice. "Wait a minute, Tilda." When I saw that Long Yi was about to attack the woman seemed to be okay, and the Golden Dragon King also stopped Long Yi. "What else is there?" "Kill me. You can also completely control this fairy sword, why not?" The woman also asked rhetorically. "What's the relationship between you and that stone?" The Golden Dragon King also kept turning over the woman and the meteor in his pupils, and then said, "Sure enough. Have you been discovered?" The woman also laughed at herself. "You really know." Xiao Yang heard the words and finally understood the calculus in this woman's heart. The reason why this woman dares to be so arrogant is that she knows some secrets of the mysterious meteorite, so she has no fear in the face of Long Yi's attack. "Tell me, you know the secrets about this meteorite?" The Golden Dragon King also stared at the woman with a smile, and a faint wave slowly spread out. "Hee hee, is this the most terrifying Golden Dragon King in the Dragon Clan? It really lives up to its reputation." But I also know that I am just an energy body at this time, and it is impossible for the three of you to be an opponent, but one thing is certain. If it wasn't for me, you would never have gotten that mysterious meteorite. I can't even leave here alive. The woman also smiled slightly, but the absolute confidence in her voice could not be concealed. Ha ha, then you should also know that any one of us here can kill you if he wants to. Facing this woman's naked threat, the Golden Dragon King said without changing his expression. I know. That's why I said that my mission is just to find a suitable person for this fairy sword. The woman also said softly. When the Golden Dragon King heard this, he couldn't help but feel a little angry. He is the aloof Golden Dragon King, the overlord of the Dragon Clan. Whenever he was threatened by this human being, he immediately looked unhappy, snorted coldly and ignored the woman. Since I don't want to kill you, I have to show some sincerity, right? Xiao Yan also found that the scene here was very embarrassing, and hurriedly spoke out to ease the heavy atmosphere. HMPH, since that's the case, I won't go around in circles with you. Do you know why this fairy sword is broken? The woman also said slightly. Although this immortal sword looks extremely sharp, it seems as if something is missing, which greatly reduces the power of this immortal sword. Xiao Yan also said thoughtfully. You're right. But do you know why this immortal sword is like this? The woman also became slightly friendly towards Xiao Yang, and then asked back. I don't know. Xiao Yang also shook his head. Obviously, facing the secrets in the immortal sword, Xiao Yang couldn't come up with any solution. This fairy sword doesn't have a name. Only when the real owner is found and the day it opens, will it get its name. This immortal sword was originally forged by 3 fighting immortal level powerhouses. The material of the immortal sword is also quite special. It is a kind of meteorite from outside the sky. This meteorite has extremely tyrannical vitality and terrifying stiffness. Dozian worked hard, and it took decades to create it. The woman said slowly. Do you have the power of life and the extremely stiff meteorite? The Golden Dragon King never took his eyes off the mysterious meteorite hanging 10 meters away from the beginning to the end. Now the energy body in this fairy sword said so, and immediately thought of it. What could it be? Xiao Yang's pupils also turned abruptly, glanced at the mysterious meteorite, and seemed to have made a surprising discovery. And the reason why this fairy sword is missing a part, is that it lacks money, an important part of tempering. The woman also said slightly. Xiao Yang frowned upon hearing this. Although he was not a craftsman of forging weapons, he knew a little about forging weapons. The casting of a weapon is first and foremost the selection of materials. The quality of the material largely determines the peak that the weapon can achieve. The second step is to melt the selected material at high temperature, and re-agglomerate it to create a basic prototype, so as to go through some special techniques. This forms the fairy sword. But the most important thing about casting weapons is the tempering after casting. Only weapons that have been tempered can truly have power. So, now you understand my intentions. The woman also stared at the 3 people in front of her with a sly smile. Ha ha, are you trying to swallow this mysterious meteorite for yourself? Long Yi first couldn't bear it, and then said viciously. It's not to be swallowed alone. Don't look at that small mysterious meteorite. Even if it is used to temper this fairy sword, 1/10 of the meteorite will not be used, so you don't have to worry. The woman also said. Furthermore, the immortal swords that have been tempered will definitely be ranked among the top of your human world immortal sword list. The woman also released her reassurance. The immortal swords and immortal weapons possessed by human beings are called the immortal armament list. According to their power and special abilities, they are basically divided into 108 types, each of which is extremely terrifying. If an immortal level powerhouse controls an immortal weapon, then its combat power will also increase exponentially. The Golden Dragon King also spoke slowly. 108 kinds. Xiao Yang shook his head. Although he didn't know why, Xiao Yang had a certain feeling that compared with many immortal weapons, his own ancient ruler of different fires was not good enough. Too bad. The next moment, Xiao Yang also withdrew his own flame, and then slowly held his own ancient ruler of strange fire. At this time, an extremely crazy obsession also entered Xiao Yang's mind. What? Xiao Yang was also shocked. Because of the fluctuation just now, it was the strange fire radiating from the ancient ruler. That feeling is that he is quite greedy towards the mysterious meteorite in front of him. Even this feeling is even hotter than the original fluctuations from the immortal sword. What exactly is going on? Could it be that this eternal fire eternal ruler also has a very greedy idea for the life meteorite? If it is also tempered by this eternal fire eternal ruler, I wonder if it can barely reach the same power as the immortal armament ranking. Xiao Yang also slightly. Time is running out. Make a decision as soon as possible. If you want to kill or slash, you can do whatever you want. The woman was not afraid of these three people at all and said calmly. Hearing this, the Golden Dragon King did not make a sound, but quietly stared at the space around him, as if something was rapidly approaching. This mysterious meteorite has an extremely terrifying life force, and it may be able to temper this ancient ruler of strange fire after getting it. Xiao Yang also quickly calculated in his heart. Since you said that getting this mysterious meteorite is good for you, how about we cooperate? The next moment, Xiao Yang also stared at the woman in front of him with a smile on his face. Cooperate? I can't trust you hypocritical humans. The woman also snorted coldly, obviously being wary of humans. You just need to tell me the secret of this mysterious meteorite. You can get a part of this meteorite without your hands, and I promise you, I will find a top casting master for you afterwards, complete the tempering of the fairy sword, and let it see the sun again. Xiao Yang also said. In that case. All right then. The woman also paused for a while, then bit her lip, and agreed to Xiao Yang. But it was agreed in advance that if you betray your trust, even if I fight the danger of falling, I will make you unable to eat and walk around, and you will not be able to get this fairy sword. The woman seemed unwilling and said. Don't worry, I can't chase after a horse. Xiao Yang didn't care about that. After all, Xiao Yang was willing to pay for 1/10 of the meteorite. Otherwise, how could he say that he couldn't bear the child and couldn't bear it? What about wolves? Where do you wish us a happy cooperation in advance? Xiao Yang also smiled and said slowly. Don't get too happy too soon. Although you all came here, this meteorite is not so easy to get. The next moment, the woman also laughed, with a lot of jokes in her smile. This video will end here.